with us tonight. We've got Mike Kudla, Roy Hall, John Conroy, guys who were young players who clearly, we couldn't have done it without everybody in that team. I mean, guys who are running the scout team, each and every practice, getting us ready each and every week. Just want you guys to share some thoughts, maybe just real briefly about what you guys saw that made that team so special.
Check. I think it was two things that made it really distinctive about that team. As a young player, we came in, Roy and Maurice and I, and we knew that this team was a little bit different. Coach Truss started off with his winner's manual. I think, it's proof positive today that all of us live our life because of what Coach taught us. And, outside of that, the seniors up here and the upperclassmen, they showed us as young guys how to play football and how to live life as a true man. And I think that has set up this program for the last decade of, how the Buckeyes had been success. But I think that game is a culmination of, all the hard work that everybody put in. They instilled us as young guys, and that's carried on a tradition now that, it's ever present today.
Just to kind of elaborate on what Kuz was just saying, I think the biggest part about being a freshman at Ohio State is just understanding your role. And I think all of us had that I want to be in the same position as Maurice was. He was a freshman that came in, played right away, was in the spotlight, showing what he can do, the same things that he was doing the year prior as a senior in high school. And we all wanted to do that. But obviously the talent pool is so much greater in college, you really don't know what you're walking into. And over the course of the first 3 games of the season is when that decision is ultimately made, whether you're going to redshirt or not. So you're doing everything you possibly can leading up to that time to show what you can do. And for the guys that redshirted, we showed what we can do, but it wasn't necessary for us to get on the field. So once that happens, you have to kind of recalibrate yourself a little bit and say, okay, well, I'm not going to play this year. How can I contribute? And everybody up here had a distinct function. Mike Doss, 3-time All-American, a hard hitter. We knew he was one of the best leaders in the country. Matt Wilhelm, Dustin Fye, everybody had their role on the team. And as a freshman, the scout team was extremely important. It went from, we're going to win a national championship if all the freshmen are competing for that scout team player of the week. That was a big deal for all the freshmen. And I can remember going into the national championship game, Mike Doss, Matt Wilhelm, C. Grant came and sat me aside and said, hey, you're a 6'3", 225-pound freshman. We got a guy on the other team named Kellen Winslow Jr., and we need you to be him for 6 weeks as best as you can. We know you probably can't block the defensive ends, but we need you to run routes like he runs routes. So I took it personal to become that person, so much so that he became one of my favorite players. But, I had to be Kellen Winslow for those guys. And right after the game, I'll never forget, Mike and C ran up to me when they got through the crowd and said, look, he wasn't as fast as you, and he couldn't run routes as good as you, and that's why we were able to kind of cover him or keep him under grasp. So it meant a lot to me, and everybody had distinct functions. Everybody was of equal value as well. Nobody was above the team, and as a freshman, that was extremely important for us to assume those roles.
The Senator, John Conroy.
The Colemover's here to stay. No standing O for the unsung heroes, I take it,
Standing O for John Conroy, everybody.
I think it's been a resounding theme tonight, and really everyone keeps attributing Coach Trussell for what they brought out in each other, what they brought out in themselves, and really what he brought out in this team. And the same could be said for those guys that were strapping it up every week, playing scout team. You truly felt like you were a part of that team, and no other coach that I've ever been around made you feel that way. And before every game, we'd say something, I am one, but I'm only one. I can't do everything, but I can do something. And that I can do, I ought to do. And what I ought to do, by the grace of God, I shall do. And just that, mentality of the little bit that you can do, and that extra gasser, or that extra, Mike Doss, the preparation that you guys as seniors put us through. that you guys put yourselves through, and all you guys, you know, in the Woody Hayes with the heat cranked up to 110 degrees, you know, nobody gave this team a chance. Nobody gave you seniors a chance, and that fueled your fire more, and that, you know, fueled your own fire even more. And just, I think it started from, you know, Coach, you brought the trainers in. The trainers felt a part of the team, and that was a special thing. And I think that's why this 02 team has been so special, without question. Everybody felt a part of it, and you know, you brought the band in. The band felt so a part of that team, and it just, you know, really meant a lot to be young. And as Mike said, you really laid the groundwork for, you know, many wonderful years that followed with that mentality.
Johnny?